and welcome to Wednesday Wellness and Wisdom. Little delayed today, but here we are. Today, I want to talk about what it means to be on a healing journey, especially if you have been diagnosed with a life-threatening disease such as cancer, especially breast cancer. As you know, some of you may have heard me before. I have had 2 diagnoses of breast cancer, and I am still here speaking with you today. So I know what it means to be on a healing journey, and I know what it means to lose faith in the midst of a diagnosis, especially for the second time. There is something inside of us, and I call it a soul guidance or heart guidance, that is really bringing us on a journey of growth, personal growth and development. And I believe that we are here as a human being having a temporary experience, and as a soul, we have a permanent experience, having a temporary human experience. So not the other way around, and we're not human beings having a temporary spiritual experience, but really, as a soul, we are here to grow. So if you're still with me listening to this and you want to continue on, stay with me, because that is how I approach healing and the healing process. I believe that the journey is already crafted. My journey has already been crafted by me, and not me as the person and personality me, but really the me that is much deeper in the depth of my being. I am here, was born in the midst of what we call adverse childhood experiences. That means I had survived in my childhood abandonment, addiction, and multiple parts of trauma. So if you refer back to the adverse childhood experience evaluation and you take it for yourself and you know that you have had trauma in your childhood and take the score, mine is a 9 out of 10. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because there is deeply ingrained in my nervous system what is called a fight, flight, freeze response. That means I have a really short trigger to stress. I, in times of war, can survive because I react really quickly to what is happening around me. I am geared up, like we would say. And that is the case for most people who have survived adverse childhood experiences. We can have 3 types of reaction: freeze, fight, or flight. No matter what the reaction, the impact on the nervous system is the same. We fire up, and that firing up either makes us gauge whether or not we should freeze, which means play dead, we should fight, roll our sleeves up and go for it, or flight, take our shoes and run. Whichever way you look at it, the response in the nervous system is the same. Now, if that response, which is an immediate survival response, absolutely needed in the face of threat, stays ignited, if the switch stays on over time, your immune system, my immune system, ability to fight disease decreases. There's a whole series of reactions in the body, hormonal, physical, muscular, neurologic, all of it, that basically keeps you geared up. So it's important to decrease that response, and the healing process is possible. Now, if you have a diagnosis such as cancer, the word cancer freaks most people out. So you know that you probably have been there. You got your diagnosis, and whichever way you responded to, either fight, flight, or freeze, the initial response is to gear up and or gear down and freeze. And whichever way you look at it, you went into survival mode. It is important to shift that response. It is important to take a step back and really do ask yourself in the depth of your being if it is possible to heal. That is really step number 1. Now, your healing journey is your journey. Whichever way you decide to go for, either you follow your medical protocol, you follow medical advice you receive, or you follow your inner guidance, and or both. The decision to heal is yours and must be made by you. There's no other way around it. Believing that you are able to heal is really the first step, which means you see yourself as being whole and healed. Now, it is very challenging because every time you go meet a doctor, every time you have a scan, every time you have a test, you are literally being put through the test. And that test is having faith. Current reality does not determine the future. So a lot of books have been written on the impact of mind on body. And when I say mind, I mean mind and emotions together. The energy of your thoughts affects your emotions, which in turn affects the fight, flight, freeze response. If you're able to have in your mind a place where you hold healing as possible, where you hold yourself as whole, then you will find day by day, breath by breath, what the next step is in your healing journey. So step number 2 is to commit to taking those steps. Every single day, when you wake up, make time to reconnect to the deeper part of you, the healer within. And it sounds really vague, maybe, and obtuse to some of you, but it really is a simple voice that speaks to you, either through your gut feelings, intuition. Either you can see images or hear words that says, go do this, or meet with this person. The guidance is really simple. It's not a long, elaborate chapter of a book. It's simply, do this next. And that is really what is important to follow and commit to. Some of us enter the journey of healing from breast cancer already having faith and already having inner guidance, yet in the face of medical advice, we may back down. We may feel like we have to listen, somebody else knows better, the statistics are there, etc. And sometimes we have to go through that process before we can really come back in and say, hey, wait a minute, I know what is good for me. Now, how do you know this? Is by knowing what feels right to you. If something doesn't feel right, and it's tricky when I say those words because feeling is a temporary thing. And yet, if your entire being says no to something, it really means that it's not for you. In my first breast cancer diagnosis, I made some choices that were important for me at that moment, and I stood by my choices, and I carried on for another 6 years without being in remission. I was shocked in my second breast cancer diagnosis that it came back, and yet when I look back, it's now been over a year, I see that there was a lot of stress in my life. I engaged in the movement. Step number 2, I committed to having my life. I committed to healing. I committed to doing the things that I really wanted to do, yet there was still a lot of stress behind my efforts. So step number 3 is to really surrender. Surrender the outcome every single day. And what I mean by surrender is foster an environment within yourself of healing. That is, connect to your heart, appreciate life. Stepping back from stress really mean building a new pathway, a new neural pathway. A pathway of appreciation for your body, a pathway of appreciation for your inner guidance, a pathway of appreciation for life itself, for the people around you, for the little steps you take every day. So I committed to that. Step number 3, to really focus on what is working, and then surround myself with people who believe that I can heal. People have opinions, and I have made the choice to listen to only people who have walked my journey. And my journey is my journey. No one could actually walk my own personal journey, but we have similar journeys. So when someone gives me advice, I really listen from that place of knowing that people come from the best of intention, yet if they have not been through that process themselves, they may be projecting onto you their own fear. And that fear comes through what seems to be advice or good advice, and at the same time, it may not be right for you. So commit. Number 1, believe that it is possible to heal. See yourself as healed. And in part of that process is to mending the broken pieces. That's part of the healing journey. That's why it's called a journey, not a destination. Number 2 is to commit every single day to reconnecting to the healer within and really walk your journey one step at a time. Number 3 is to celebrate, acknowledge, appreciate life in what you do every single day and yourself. And then I'm adding maybe 3B or a 4th step, which is to really surround yourself with support in having people around you who really believe that it is possible for you to heal. Now, I have created a retreat on July 10th, 11, and 12, and I'm inviting you to join me on that journey so we can collectively support one another in believing that it is possible to heal and committing to taking the steps that only us, inside of us, know how to take. Now, I will be offering some tools. I will be offering some templates and things to do in terms of taking care of your physical body, your emotional, mental, and also connecting to your spiritual self. All of this will be included in the retreat, and at the same time, my primary goal is to empower you to know that you already know what to do and where to go. You simply need to hear yourself and connect to your heart and to the place within you that knows. So again, in the text of this video, there is a link, yes, to my Life Academy and recovering the 3-step to walking your path through breast cancer recovery and creating your own healing journey. So until I see you, hopefully I will. I hope that you will post a comment on this video and join me July 10th, 11, and 12 from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now feel free to leave a comment and or ask any questions that you might have. And I look forward to meeting you very soon. Have a good day.